Legends of Wasteland City is a post-apocalyptic anthology series and may contain references to drugs, sex, and violence, along with the occasional vulgarity. You've been warned. Don't Stop Shootin', Chapter 3. Jeremiah kept close look where the girl stepped. They were on the catwalks under a bridge that crossed the Mississippi River below. The sun was just beginning to set to his right, making it harder to see where the metal walkway was still good and where it was dangerously rusted. But the girl seemed to know every step by heart. In some places, wooden planks were put in place over large holes and breakaways, and it took every bit of self-control for Jeremiah to not look down to the rushing water over 100 feet below.
Why not walk up top?
She turned quickly, lowering the cloth from her face.
Shh! Keep your voice down. It's not safe up there. The tollmen own the bridge.
Jeremiah felt a little sheepish for not being more cautious. He decided to stay quiet until she decided it was time to talk again. At the end of the bridge, the girl climbed through the catwalk's handrail and down to a concrete walkway just below. Jeremiah followed her, almost spraining his ankle on the small jump down. She turned to make sure he was all right, and kept going until she reached a large metal grate at the end of a storm runoff pipe. She grabbed onto one side, and even though to Jeremiah it looked like it would never open from all the rust, it gave way easily under her gentle coaxing. They went inside the pipe, which was just a little too short for her to stand up in, and she closed the grate behind them, giving one look to make sure that no one saw them go in. Then she led Jeremiah further in. He felt the fear rising in his gut as they walked deeper into the darkness, but it dissipated a bit as she started talking again.
The streets south of the river aren't safe after dark, so we move underground.
Who's we?
Me and my...
Your sister. The girl they threw on the pile? She looked like you.
You think so? I'd never noticed.
Jeremiah could tell she would rather talk about anything else, even if she did just crack a joke.
I can't see anything. Where are we going?
As he said the words, he could hear the girl reaching into her pocket. She paused, then clicked on a flashlight, illuminating a concrete room full of furniture, like an entire house worth. There was a bed built up on 4 oil barrels in the corner, and a basic kitchen area complete with a stove and shelves full of canned food. There was even a couple couches in the middle of the room with a coffee table and water-damaged board games stacked up on a shelf behind them. The room smelled musty, and the furniture all had varying degrees of crud on them.
You live here?
We did, but I'm not sticking around anymore.
She got busy filling a backpack with her own supplies, canned food, clothes, batteries, and a plastic jug of water that looked fresh. She checked the clip of a black handgun, loaded it back in, and tucked the gun into her back waistband.
Where are you going?
First, Houston. Then I'll figure it out from there. Maybe west?
I'm heading west of Houston. Maybe we could...
You any good with that?
It took Jeremiah a second to realize she was talking about the BB gun.
I can pick off 10 cans from 50 yards, easy. But this?
He pulled the 9mm from his waistband.
This I'm still getting used to.
Holy shit, is that real? Let me see.
Jeremiah reluctantly held it out for her. She took it and quickly pointed it right at him.
Give me your bag.
What?
I'm kidding. Oh my God, you should have seen your face. Look, you're way too trusting.
She handed the gun back to Jeremiah.
Don't ever give it to anyone. For fuck's sake, like ever.
Yeah, okay.
The name's Liv.
Live? Like, where do you live?
No, like Olivia. And what can I call you?
Jeremiah.
Well, come on, Jeremiah.
She led him out another pipe, opposite the one they'd come in, speaking to him while they navigated a few twists and turns.
Okay, since we're gonna be travel buddies, I figure we better start to get to know each other.
You're coming with me?
Just to Houston. Then you're on your own.
I don't want to go to Houston. I'm going past Houston. To the farms.
Well, I'm gonna need another person to help me in Houston, so if you want my help getting there, you're gonna have to help me too.
Okay, yeah.
You were right.
About what?
That was my sister. In the pit.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
It's okay. She took a risk. She knew there was a chance she'd... Anyway, I'm sticking to the plan.
What plan?
The key she had. It's to a safe deposit box in Houston. There's supposed to be like $1 billion in there. If no one's broken into it yet.
And what do you need me for?
Okay, quiet. We're gonna go up now. The train leaves at dawn tomorrow, and we're gonna need to be on it tonight.
She climbed up a ladder that led to an obscure orange glow above, where light was finding its way through a manhole cover. Jeremiah followed, and on first touch of the ladder realized it was caked in dirt and grease. He wiped his hands on his pants one at a time, and this time kept his hands to the inside of the rungs where it was mildly cleaner. When they reached the top, Liv paused a minute to listen, and once she decided it was safe, used all her strength to lift the manhole cover enough to slide it over halfway. Then squeezed herself through the hole. Jeremiah followed, with the girl giving him a hand to help him lift himself out. She pushed the manhole cover back into place, rubbed some of the grease from her hands around the edges, and then kicked some dirt onto it. It looked like it had never been opened. Jeremiah finally looked around and found himself in the middle of a train yard between two rails, which both had train cars on them. The orange glow he had seen from below ground lit up the whole area. It was coming from a single large streetlight that he could see just over the rail car next to him. Liv grabbed his hand and pulled him under the rail car.
Look over there. See those two?
Jeremiah could see 2 pairs of legs past several of the rows of rail cars. He nodded.
Think you could take out that light so we can sneak past them?
I can try.
He climbed back out from under the rail car and stood next to the manhole they'd just climbed out of. He took the BB gun off his shoulder and gave it 10 pumps, max capacity for a straighter shot. He aimed at the light, plus a few degrees to the right to make up for its slight leftward drift, steadied his breath, and squeezed the trigger. The BB shot true, taking out the light and casting the whole area in darkness. From beyond the rows of train cars, he could hear the 2 guards talking to each other, trying to figure out what just happened to the light.
What was that?
I don't know. Probably just another bulb went out.
Well, you go grab the ladder. I'll see if we got any more.
Jeremiah climbed back under the rail car where Liv was still hiding.
I got it. 1 shot.
Nice job. Okay, come on.
She led him under each row of cars, and every time checking both directions to make sure no one was there.
Come on now.
After 7 or 8 rows, they made it to the last train, which was bellied up to the station platform. They could smell the pungent aroma of fertilizer, and could hear a few people up on the platform loading and unloading things from the cars.
Those go over here.
We need that light back up. It's gonna be at least 5 minutes.
You two, unload those pigs.
Jeremiah watched as 2 of the workers dropped what they were doing and moved to the car behind the one that they were under, opening a loud rolling door, and went inside. They came out a moment later, each with a pig on a rope leash, who seemed to pull the workers along like they knew where they were going.
That's our car.
The one that smells like shit?
Yeah. Stock cars go back empty.
She got up and moved to the side of the car opposite the platform, and they crept around the car wheels to reach the pig car. Once there, they crouched underneath and waited again. Jeremiah held his nose as it filled with the smell of filth and urine. This couldn't be how they were going to travel.
All right. Once they finish unloading, we'll hop in from this side.
Jeremiah had figured he'd hide in a dry goods car or something. This was going to be a long trip if they really had to ride in the pig car. They waited while the workers came back in for 10 or 12 more pairs of pigs, and each time they did, the stink got stirred up again. Jeremiah was pretty sure something wet was falling on his head, and when he verified it with a quick wipe of his hand and smelled it, he knew a small shift to his right was going to be his best move for the time being.
That's the last one.
Okay, close up car 9.
Come on.
They looked left and right in the space between the first and second rails, and when they didn't see anyone, climbed out. Liv climbed up the ladder next to the outer door of the pig car and waited with her hand on the door's latch. Once she heard the workers start pushing the opposite door closed, she pulled the lever loose and pushed the door open just enough to climb inside with her bag barely fitting behind her.
Hurry up!
I'm trying.
Jeremiah climbed the ladder and jumped in behind her just in time to close the door while the workers were latching the door on the other side. The car was made with perforated metal, which would allow the animals to breathe freely on the tracks, but it also meant they could see out to the platform, and the people on the platform could see in if there was any light. They made their way to the front of the car, where there was a big burlap bag that held some grain for the pigs. It was almost empty, so Liv poured out the rest and they covered themselves up with the bag, laying down in the only dry spot of the wet, filthy floor. As they settled into their hiding spot, Jeremiah realized that he hadn't eaten since lunch with Pops. But even though he had plenty of food in his bag, none of it was going to be very appetizing right now.
Don't worry. They won't be coming back in here. At least, I don't think they will.
You said they go back empty?
Yeah. They were sending the kids back in the livestock cars, but the masters back on the farms complained about the smell. See? Those slavers have a whole thing going. They get a bunch of kids from some city along the rail line and pay off the local gangs to let them do it. That's what those pigs are for. Then, they put the young'uns to work in the farms doing whatever they want. They took a whole load of them back the other day. Poor kids.
My brother and sister were taken a few days ago.
Ah. So that explains it. Well, kid, sorry to say, but you should just forget about them. There's no way you're gonna get them back. Not from these guys.
I gotta get them back.
Well, your funeral. Look, I get it. If it was my sister, I'd be doing the same thing.
What happened to her?
We won that key in a poker game, and the gutter that we won it from was convinced we cheated, and he took it back. We, knew him from before he joined the gutters, when he was one of us survivors who fought back against the gangs. But when rumors of the sick coming back came through, and everybody was getting on edge, he decided to join them rather than fight them. Anyway, Blizz went after the key. Thought she could convince him to just hand it over. I was keeping an eye out from outside, but one thing led to another, and, well, she killed him. The other gutters heard and just shot her when she tried to run away, before I could do anything to stop him. I tried to tell her it wasn't worth it.
Jeremiah grabbed her hand, not knowing what to say. The light outside the train car came back on, and Jeremiah watched through the burlap as the workers kept loading, and Liv went on.
And that was all after the gutters started killing anyone who sneezed or had bags under their eyes. Their leader, a guy called Faust, got real scared and hid himself in one of the towers and had his guys remove anyone that looked even a little sick.
Was that why there's all those bodies at the train station? So that's where everyone went.
Not everyone, but a lot. Most people just left, which is what we were gonna do. But Blizz, she just had to go back for that key. Well, I guess I did too.
She felt for the key in her pocket.
I'll help you. We'll be stronger together anyway, right?
Well, you already owed me that before. But yeah. Okay. I'll keep watching till they're done unloading. You try to get some sleep.
Jeremiah leaned his head on Liv's shoulder, happy to have a companion for at least some of his trip. It didn't take long for him to find sleep. He was exhausted from the long day. He woke up to the entire train shaking and loud metallic noises from ahead. Light permeated the car's metal sides. It was morning.
Shit! They're uncoupling us.
What?
They're leaving us behind.
They scrambled to put their packs on and heard 3 short train whistles from up ahead. Liv pushed the sliding door open and jumped out, not concerning herself with the noise this time.
Fuck.
Jeremiah jumped out behind her. The rest of the train was leaving and already 50 yards in front of them.
I hope you can run.
Liv started sprinting toward the train, not paying any attention to whether anyone saw them. And Jeremiah ran just behind her, trying to hold his rucksack tight to his body so he could run without it swinging wildly. A worker on the loading platform spotted them.
Where the hell do you two rats just come from?
Keep going.
They kept running, and the worker jumped down off the platform to chase after them.
Get back here!
Liv caught up to the train first, grabbing the ladder on the back car and climbing up. Jeremiah was having a hard time just keeping up with the train as it built up speed, and the worker was hard on his tail and looked like he might be able to grab him any moment. Liv opened up her bag and pulled out a tin can.
Damn it. I love ravioli.
She threw the can, hitting the worker square in the nose, who fell tripping on his own legs and went down hard. Jeremiah looked straight ahead and ran his fastest, catching up to the train, and with his last bit of energy, reached up enough for Liv to grab his hand and pull him onto the car's small platform. He rolled onto his back and laid there, catching his breath.
Really didn't think you were gonna make it.
Liv got up and looked through the glass window of the door into the last car.
No way.
She opened the door and went inside. Jeremiah got up, still breathing heavily, and followed her. Once inside the car, he could not believe his eyes.
Oranges?
The car was filled with boxes and boxes of oranges. He'd only ever tasted 2. Well, other than those canned mandarins he'd sometimes get from the mill.
Well, hope you're hungry. Next stop, Houston.
Don't Stop Shootin' was written, directed, and narrated by me, Mike Makeshift Darling, and features the voice talents of Alexis Van Dum as Jeremiah, Megan Hensley as Liv, Jonathan Regier as the foreman, Jet Black as the gutter, Christine Conger as Guard 1, Ian Slater as Guard 2, plus additional voices by Makeshift. Legends of Wasteland City is a production of the Apocalypse Post and Studio Ruckus, and is sponsored by the Love Bombs, and backed by our many Patreon supporters, including Ryan Lowe's, Sadismeena, and Trina Casteele. You too can support Legends of Wasteland City by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/theapocalypsepost. Stick around after the break for news and notes with Makeshift.
The whole world is like some bad dream you can't wake up from, isn't it? Don't you feel that way too, sister? Now why wouldn't you? The world is a wasteland littered with ghouls and toe cutters. But it doesn't have to be. Instead of a nightmare, wouldn't you like a dream, brother? Well, now you can have it, and in such an easy little package. That's right, I'm talking about Jet, friend. What's Jet? Why, it's a little inhaler that packs a big kick. Boy, does it. Jet will give you such a rush that you'll think you're flying up above the clouds. Maybe even develop the sight, and really turn your life around. But only if you get the genuine article, pal. The only authentic Jet around is brewed, packaged, and distributed by the Boneyard Buzzards. Through rigorous testing and the death of only one faction leader, the Buzzards have honed a recipe that's safe for consumption and recreation. So if you want to live a dream, get Jet. And if you get Jet, get Buzzards Jet. Anything else is a trip to an early grave. And that's a fact, Jack.
Jet is a fictional narcotic and is for entertainment purposes only.
Where the fuck is my cup?
There it is. Brought to you by the Air Raid Sirens, Wasteland's premier wake-up service.
The Love Bombs provide top-notch outcomes for the most discriminating clients all across the Wasteland. When you need executive escort and protection, intelligence analysis, direct action, or other specialized solutions, the Love Bombs provide a bespoke option tailored directly to your needs. Listen to this heartfelt testimonial from one of the Love Bomb's satisfied clients.
I hired the Love Bombs to save my precious Pookie Pie from them there scabs over yonder. They was fixing to turn his poor hide into jerky. Woo! Whew! I reckon not a one of those bastards will walk away from this scuffle.
Because it's on the body part.
Goodness gracious, I reckon I ain't ever seen a gun that big. The Love Bombs will give your enemies a licking they won't soon forget.
Yes, the Love Bombs. They're polite, professional, and have a plan to kill everyone they meet. The Love Bombs provide complete confidentiality in their free initial consultation. That's right, the initial consultation is absolutely free. Remember, the Love Bombs. Artillery available.
The Dead Raider Jerky Company is expanding to new territories, and we've got a whole new line of products your dirty feet are gonna love. Those raiders thought they could hide from us. Instead, they're giving their hides to us. Introducing Raider Rugs. These short-haired leathers will beautify the entry of your hovel, or can be used as an unwelcome mat to let all the raiders know they can't just walk all over you anymore. It's you who's gonna be walking on them. Raider rugs are 100% natural, come in various sizes, and are completely unique, and so may contain stab wounds, bullet holes, scars, burn marks, or tattoos. The skinny raiders will make a good runner for a hallway or the end of your bed, and the larger raiders are great decorative area rugs. And for every raider rug purchased, we'll go out and kill another raider, which is just good business economics, and you'll be helping make the world just a little bit safer for all peaceful wastelanders out there. Dead Raider Jerky Company's Raider Rugs. We've got skin in this game. Hey Survivors, Makeshift here. Thanks for sticking around. So what'd you think about today's episode? Jeremiah has officially found himself a travel buddy in the somewhat mysterious Liv, and he's now on a path to find out exactly what's going on in Houston. We've been teasing this since, I guess just 2 episodes. But we're going to find out more in the next episode, because this train keeps a rolling all night long. And next stop, Houston. This episode was a challenge to get right. Oh man, and I'm being serious when I say this episode had so many sound cues that I had to add more tracks in my editor just to fit everything in. Building out that train station with engines running, workers moving things around, pigs complaining about everything, and all those footsteps and other background noises. It was a lot, and it was very frustrating because my computer wasn't crashing, but it was every time I leave the program to go grab a sound effect or adjust a sound effect or do an edit in my other audio editor, it just takes a few seconds to get ready again when I go back to my editor. And so it was just really frustrating because this one required a lot of sound effects. And I think it's because I have all 6 episodes sitting in one file right now, and it's probably about time to start splitting them up. Anyway, bunch of behind the scenes stuff you guys don't need to know about. Long story short, this was probably my most challenging episode of Legends of Wasteland City yet. And I think they're just going to get worse from here, because I wasn't thinking when I wrote this one. I was just trying to tell a good story. I wasn't thinking about how much work all the sound effects were going to be. If you guys are enjoying the immersive nature of these episodes, let me know. I'd love to get some feedback on it. And also, I think I mentioned before that I've been working on another audio drama that is narratorless. I'm definitely excited to try that a bit more. And I've been doing a little bit of thinking about the differences between the two. And the funny thing is, the one that I'm working on that doesn't have a narrator, called Who the Fuck Killed My Sister, it's coming out this year, hopefully. 8 episodes long, half-hour each, so it's like a sitcom, basically. When there's no narrator, there's a little bit less action-oriented storytelling. It's a little bit more about the conversations characters have. And so just by that nature, there's a lot less sound effects. Like one of the first scenes that I do in Who the Fuck Killed My Sister takes place in a cafe. So I just found cafe background sound, put on some music, got a music track and made it sound like it was playing on the radio in the background. And then just added a few specific sound effects, like when the characters pick up their forks and take a bite. So there's just a lot less stuff because they just kind of stay there. Of course, I'm still doing a whole lot of immersion stuff, like when they're outside and walking, there's footsteps and that whole deal. But just by sheer count of sound effects, way less. So, pretty interesting. There is a story coming up, one story that's going to be on Legends of Wasteland City that one of the Wasteland community sent in. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but I think you might know who you are if you're listening. But anyway, yeah, it's script form. There is no narrator. So I'm going to get a chance to try that on this show, just seeing, what the difference is. Of course, now that I think about it, this script that's coming up, it moves a lot and there's a lot of sound effects. So maybe it won't make a difference, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's just my little tirade of behind the scenes of making an audio drama. It takes a lot of work. We are now halfway through Don't Stop Shootin', which should be done in time for Wasteland Weekend 24. I'm trying to keep up an every other week schedule, although I know I missed last week, but it's just tough to keep up. But yeah, I think every other week until Wasteland puts me right on par to finish this one, and then we'll pick up the other stories once Wasteland Weekend's over. So I'm thinking that the season will probably be done by the end of the year, which is kind of cool. And then I think I mentioned before, these might not be seasons anymore. I might just do like a story here and there whenever I can. I do want to do these more often, and I think you guys like them too. I know I've got a lot of requests, like when I took last year, 2023, off of doing Legends, people were asking when it was going to be. Specifically, Love Bombs, who came on as a sponsor of the show on Patreon. They're one of my larger dollar amount sponsors, which have been absolutely amazing. Big shout out to the Love Bombs, who also, speaking of which, all right, I'm just going to make myself comfortable here. I thought I was going to do this real quick, but I guess I got a lot to say. I'm very excited. There are a bunch of new tribes that have been placed in Wasteland Weekend, Wasteland City of Wasteland Weekend, and the Love Bombs are amongst them, and it's very exciting. These guys do a very similar thing to my tribe, the Dukes of the Nuke, where they're like gun runners and mercenaries for hire. I think they're a bigger tribe than us, especially this year, because only like half of the Dukes are going to make it, which is a bit unfortunate. We, of course, love all of our people. It does mean that those of us that are going have a lot more stuff to build, which it's not so bad. We've got it down. We can do it. We've got a few days to do it anyway. But yeah, so the Love Bombs are going to be a placed tribe this year, which is very exciting, amongst so many other tribes. We just had a meeting, a Wasteland Weekend like tribe leaders meeting, and they put the map up, and there were a lot of tribes I've never heard of, so I'm really excited to see them all. And speaking of which, oh my gosh, this is super exciting. I have been going to Wasteland Weekend since 2011, and I've never had a vehicle of my own. Some of you know where this is going. There have been several years when the Dukes have a vehicle that are like available to anyone to use anytime, which has been great. I've gotten to use it a few times, but I always feel bad because when I leave camp, it tends to be for a very long mission of some kind, and usually I'm just going out gallivanting, shooting cameras, and I never know when I'm going to get back. So I very rarely take the vehicle, but it is great for those quick, like, hey, I need to get up to the front gate to sign in and that kind of stuff. But anyway, I think I've told you guys I'm in Albuquerque for the summer leading up to Wasteland, just working on some gigs here. And I found a little pocket bike, a little Coleman pocket bike that I'm super excited about. And it's matte black, which was a good selling point. Although some of the black is like black on gray camouflage, which gives me a great starting point. But I bought it from a guy that soups them up a little bit. So it has a couple little extras like a torque converter, which is Greek to me, but I think it means it makes it go better. And I took the governor out, which makes it go faster. And then a couple other small things that I don't even remember. But anyway, I'm super excited. And on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/theapocalypsepost, at some point in the next month, I'm going to spend a few days doing some art on it. I'm not sure exactly what direction I'm going to go, but the house that I'm at in Albuquerque used to have like a whole tiki room around the pool. And by the way, the pool's really nice on this record-breaking hot summer. But it used to have all these tiki things that when we had to remove all of them from the pool area, which, yeah, I know. just put them back. They're pretty ratty though, but I wasn't ready to get rid of them. But anyway, I'm thinking maybe it'll be a bit of a tiki bike, if that makes sense. Like not full tiki bar. I'm not gonna have a bunch of shrunken heads on it, and it's not shrunken heads, coconut heads, but I might do one. But there's like a bunch of fish net in my little storage area, some old like metallic things. It's just some really cool stuff that I'm gonna go through and see what I can get to stick to this thing as decoration. So anyway, on my YouTube channel, I will absolutely film this and kind of show you guys where I'm starting and where it ends up to go to Wasteland this year. So I'm super excited about that. Oh, and then also, some of those tiki things may end up in the Dukes of the Nuke bar, which we're right now calling Foo Bar. So last year, the Skullduggers were generous enough to give us an old GP tent. It's like the GP medium. It's basically like a barracks kind of a thing, or maybe it was a mess hall tent, but it can fit like, 30 people in there or something like that. So we set it up in our courtyard as a new thing, and we weren't really too sure what we were going to do with it, but what ended up happening was our VIP, it wasn't even VIP bar. Our bar ended up in there, and we opened it up for just 2 nights of Wasteland last year, I think just Friday and Saturday, and it was a big hit. So we're going to do it again. 2 of the Dukes are going to run the bar in there, and they are excited to make cocktails for all of our friends. And I'm going to bring a few of the extra tiki decorations to make it look pretty. That's all. All right, so I know I just went on a crazy tirade about things I'm excited about, but let's see. Where was I in my notes? Oh yeah, so we're gonna get into some more of the other stories for the rest of the season, which is gonna be very exciting. I've been really impressed by the scripts that Wastelanders are sending in. These stories are really fun. We've got some beginning writers. We've got some writers that have been writing for quite a while coming up. It's a lot of stuff that's like lore for their tribes, which is exactly what I was hoping to do. Just kind of tell some of these lore stories that are coming up out of this amazing festival from the tribes, and like letting people hear them and just trying to flesh them out a little bit more and bring them to life. Not that the writing's not life, but you know what I mean. Just add some more dimension to it. Anyway, the only regret I have is that I haven't gotten to more of them yet, because I got a real late start this year, and I wanted to start with Don't Stop Shootin', because I think it's a bit of a flagship story. But yeah, we got some more coming up. Anyway, okay. I've got some, the Apocalypse Post news for you. First off, the Wasteland 2023 Bird's Eye event map is done. By the time this comes out, I will have picked it up and it will have started to ship. I got quite a few pre-orders for it this year, which is fantastic, but I need to sell a lot more to keep this project viable. It's very expensive and very time consuming to produce this thing and get them printed and get them shipped out. And the only way it works is if a lot of people get on board and buy one. I'm really excited to keep doing it as long as Wasteland Weekend will let me keep doing it, but part of that is I need to get some sales. Anyway, it's up on my shop, which is theapocalypsepost.square.site. It's in the top left. There will be some new art. You'll be able to see what it actually looks like by the time this is up, because when I'm recording this, I'm literally going to go pick it up. It's Saturday, and I can't pick it up till Monday is when I get the map, because I had the prints, but I had to bring them to the lamination shop to get 20 of them laminated. Oh, and that's the other thing, is the lamination here in Albuquerque is about twice as much as it was in Nashville. I got a really great shop in Nashville that can do them pretty reasonably, but the fact is, by the time I factor in all the costs, I'm not making much on them because of the price I got to pay in Albuquerque, but I want to get them done. It's taken too long, and I want to get them out to you guys. So all that to say, I'm not going to get, I think it's like 10 more laminated. So I'm only going to have 10 more laminated ones available, but I am going to change lanes and offer up the unlaminated print. So it'll be a lower cost if you guys, if the laminated ones were a little bit too expensive, but you want something physical, I am going to offer up the prints. So it's still a poster size. It'll come, you can hang it up on your wall. But yeah, I'm going to offer that, and that is going to be $39 versus I think the laminated ones are like $56 or $59 or something like that. But yeah, so if you want a gigantic movie poster print of Wasteland Weekend 2023, this is last year's, not the event that hasn't happened yet. This is last year's print that I'm finally done with. If you guys want one, head over to theapocalypsepost.square.site and put in your orders now, and they will ship before Wasteland. But of course, they'll still be available after as well. Yeah, so that's that. I got some more merch news. The Patch of the Month Club is, let's see, it is now August. I think it's the 5th when this is coming out. Anyway, it's early August. It's time to announce next month's Patch of the Month. And this one is going to be also sponsored by Rob Klein, a.k.a. Reach, a formidable Wastelander who's been going for quite a while and makes some really cool stuff. And since we're all gearing up for Wasteland and getting our camps and costumes and tickets in order, I figured it's the perfect time to send out the Ticket to Valhalla patch. You guys have probably seen this elsewhere in the world, but now you can have one of your own. This patch guarantees your admittance to the great hereafter right now. And any warboy would be proud to slap one on their sleeve. Hey, real quick side note, speaking of warboys, now that Furiosa's been out for a while, what do you all think about it? And more importantly, are any of you planning to make a cosplay for any of the festivals? I'm definitely expecting to see some like Furiosas and Dementises. Someone told me I looked like Dementus, and I think it's just because I have a big nose, and a beard. My beard's not as nice as his though, but his was probably fake. Let's talk about that. Let's not. We don't have to beard shame. Fake beards are real beards. That's not true at all. No, we can definitely fake beard shame. But I don't know. Did he grow it out? Who knows this? Tell me in the notes. Tell me in a comment. So yeah, I'm expecting some Furiosas and Dementises, but I would really love to see what people do with, like, we saw some more Green Place characters, or some Green Place before it really died characters. They looked almost like futuristic in a weird way. And of course, like Dementis's biker gang. So less of like the big, like comic book style characters and more of like those blend into the background. I'm expecting that we'll probably see some of those. Oh, What if I did Dementis, but then I just rode around my mini bike and I was just like giant Dementis, big fat guy, little coat style, like big tall guy, little bike, Dementis. All I really need is a cape. Anyway, I'm excited to see what you guys do this year. But let's get back to the Patch of the Month. If you want to check out the Ticket to Valhalla patch, you can do that on our Patreon at patreon.com/theapocalypsepost. Anyone that signs up for the $10 tier or higher during August will get one of these patches shipped to them in early September, which is just in time for Wasteland weekend. And of course, there are tiers for single patch, 2 patches, and now I did add the tribe pack of 4 patches if you wanted to do it that way. That way you can have one Patreon account but get multiple patches delivered. So if you have a household of Wastelanders, that is your option. Also, if you want to support the show by sponsoring a patch, please reach out to me anytime at theapocpost@gmail.com. I'll share all the details with you. Right now, I think we have enough patches to get through the end of the year, so I'm starting to think about like what's 2025 gonna look like, right? If you guys want to sponsor a patch, definitely consider it. You can either send me the patches, like if you get a bulk and you have a whole bunch of them and you want to send me some, that's awesome. That's like a full sponsorship. But if you just have a really cool design or like a logo or something and you want to sponsor that way, you can send me the file and I'll get them printed. So a couple options there. Anyway, for the rest of this episode, I'm going to talk very specific Wasteland Weekend plans. So if you want to hear about Wasteland Weekend 2024, stick around. If you don't, you can probably just skip the rest of this. Here we go. Let's talk more Wasteland Weekend. All right. Another thing I'm doing for the another thing that the Apocalypse Post is doing for Wasteland Weekend 24 is if you are a Patreon member and attending this year, and this is all tiers, from $1 to I think it's $500 tier is the highest. No one signed up for that yet. But all tiers are going to get a snap wrap koozie delivered to you. Not, you got to come get it. Well, some of you are going to have to come get it. There's those of you that don't have an address at Wasteland, you got to just come get it. But that's up to you. For the most part, I will be delivering these through the Wasteland Communication Corporation post office, so you'll actually get a little bit of mail at Wasteland, and everyone likes getting mail at Wasteland. And you get to choose between the Dead Raider Jerky Company Raiderade or the Dr. Prepper Snap Wrap koozies. And Once you are a member of the Patreon, there will be a link in the feed to a survey, and you just have to fill it out with all your information so I can find you and I know how to get it to you. All right. I'm also starting to schedule some appearances at Wasteland this year. Now that I am not running the video crew, I've got more time to do more things. So far I've got an acoustic set at the Rec Room. That's going to be on Thursday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. It's going to be mostly me playing my library of post-apocalypse songs and blood ballads. I just made that term up today, blood ballads. Maybe someone else is using it. I don't know. And I'll be bringing up a few guests to share the stage as well. I think the Dukes of the Nuke Band will make an appearance, and a few other people may be joining to play a song or two, or like I'll play with them, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. This is all TBD as we go and figure things out. On Friday, I'm going to be once again co-hosting the Acoustic Cafe. That's right, Acoustic, along with Show Pony and Feather Edge at the DXC's Forlorn Hope Saloon. We're still working out the exact times because it just so happens that the Sheriff of Wasteland City election is going to be happening midday Friday, so we may move it kind of early, which is not bad. I kind of like that it's like a coffee cafe, a little bit lighter. You know, it's kind of like the acoustic sunrise that used to be on Saturday on an old radio station that I used to listen to. Anyway, the exact times are TBD, but keep an eye on the Apocalypse post. I'll probably post it there. This one is more of an open mic, so yeah, I'm going to play some songs. Show Pony and Feather Edge are going to play some songs. I know we have at least one other band that wants to play some songs. So we're going to have a few scheduled acts, and then we're going to open it up for open mic. So if you've got like one or two post-apocalypse, acoustic-ish, either acoustic or like lighter sound, max band members 2, because this is not for bands. This is more of like an open cafe mic kind of a feel. And the songs have to be post-apocalyptic or at least themey, sci-fi, dark, murder, horror. You know what's in theme. But yeah, if you want to come, you can just sign up on the board and we'll get you up on stage so you can play for everybody in the cafe. Or if you do want to schedule, like if you've got more than one or two songs and you want to schedule a slot, reach out to me at the APOC post. That's TheAPOCPOST at gmail.com. Or you can just sign up when you get there. I think I might actually have a real sign-up board this year. It's something to work on. I'll put that on my projects list. Anyway, I really want to hear some Wasteland singer-songwriters come up and do their thing in a place that's not the main stage. You know what I mean? Like just kind of coming and hanging out and playing some music and just doing the thing. There will also be coffee available for friends. Wink, wink. So, bring your cup. And yeah, the coffee is hot. I don't really have a way to do iced coffee. So it's going to be hot coffee. So I'm thinking we'll probably do it that morning, Friday morning, which is always a good time. Anyway, other things I'm already signed up for, the Rec Room Variety Show, which is usually Wednesday evenings, but still exact time TBD, and the Fuck It, Fake It Lip Sync Contest, which I don't know the day for, but last year it was Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's been Saturday pretty consistently. It is a great show, a huge draw, and it's a great way to go out on Saturday, so I'll be doing that again. I don't know what my act's going to be yet. I got to start working on that. I got to pick a song. It'll probably involve some Dukes. So anyway, that's about it. I have rambled way longer than I expected to today. Thank you for sticking around. I know I've got a lot of stuff going on these days, and I really appreciate you guys being on board, supporting the show, supporting us by buying merch, signing up for the Patreon, just showing up and just hearing stuff. I'm really excited to come play with everybody at Wasteland this year, and I don't know, this is great. You guys are awesome. I appreciate the hell out of all of you. And that's all. Okay? Subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave a comment or a question if you can. Rate the show if you're on one of the platforms that lets you do it. And of course, if you enjoyed today's episode, send it to a friend, because that's the best way to spread things around. And if you hated it, send it to an enemy, and then take their stuff when they're distracted by just how shiny this is. All right, survivors, I'm out of here for now. See you next time. And until then, stay alive.
End days, end days, end days, end days, end